Hi everyone and welcome, this is the Apostate Prophet. I hope you're having a great week. In the 21st century, we still have a barbaric practice called female genital mutilation. And in the 21st century, many Muslims and their Western allies also try to explain that female genital mutilation has no relation to Islam at all, that it is completely traditional. Of course, it's also a complete coincidence that it is so widely practiced among Muslims. I have to say that female genital mutilation does not only exist among Muslims. It existed also before Islam, it exists outside of Islam, but it is majorly dominated by the Muslim world. It has even Islamic regulations, which means that it is a part of Islam. Female genital mutilation is practiced widely among Muslims and mostly among Muslims. It is also important to note that not all Muslim schools and branches believe in this practice, but I will come to that. Before starting, I want to thank everyone for their support, no matter in what way. My channel is not monetized and never will be, so if you want to support my cause, you can do so on Patreon. The link is below in the description. And thank you also for the massive support on Sunday and Monday. Thank you so much. Now, before analyzing if female genital mutilation is part of Islam or not, let's analyze what female genital mutilation is, the benefits, and the risks and consequences of it. Female genital mutilation can happen in different forms. The whole clitoris can be removed, and if you have any sex ed, you probably know how tragic this to a woman is. This cannot be properly undone, and removes women's ability to feel one of the most natural pleasures. It's like losing your ability to taste the most delicious thing, forever. Often the mutilation can include removing the inner labia and the outer labia, narrowing the vagina, sealing it, and even more. Removing the clitoris is a blatant oppression of women. It is barbaric, and its sole purpose is to rob women of their natural womanhood. If you look at the benefits, there are none. Yes, it has absolutely no health benefits, but you can't explain that to people who don't believe you if their faith doesn't confirm that 1 + 1 = 2. If you come to the risks and consequences, aside from immediate consequences like heavy pain, heavy bleeding, serious infections, urinary problems, and more, female genital mutilation results in permanent urinary problems, vaginal dysfunctions, menstrual problems, sexual problems, childbirth complications, major psychological problems, and death through excessive bleeding and many other reasons. As mentioned, it also rids women of their major sexual pleasures. It is extremely terrible and misogynistic. Misogynistic is not even a word to describe how barbaric this practice is. Let's have a look at rough estimations of the prevalence of this barbaric practice. As you can see on this map provided by the Orchid Project, it is widely present in the Islamic world, but that is again just a coincidence. It is also reported in other countries, mainly in Africa. Many countries have banned the practice due to Western values and secularization, but in many countries it is still practiced anyway. Even though it is also found very often in Western countries such as France, Germany, or the US due to the Muslim diaspora, the numbers are hard to estimate because it is strictly illegal and hidden. In the Islamic world and in Africa, the number of girls that underwent female genital mutilation is around 200 million, and most of them are mutilated before the age of 15. Now, as said, not only Muslims do this, and it also existed before Islam. But so did many other Muslim things, like jinns or walking weirdly around the Kaaba. Both of these things are undoubtedly real or required things from a Muslim's perspective, even though they didn't begin with Islam, but they are part of Islam. Islam is also the leader in female genital mutilation practices around the world. That's why people shouldn't be too surprised if it's associated with Islam. Numbers are very high in many places. In Egypt, Indonesia, Somalia, Sudan, Malaysia, and so on. We are talking two completely different regions in the world. Africa and Southeast Asia. What a coincidence, right? Many argue about if female genital mutilation is part of Islam or not, or if it is forbidden or not. I will give you some quick facts about the matter. In Sunni Islam, the 4 schools are divided in terms of female genital mutilation. In the Hanafi school, it is considered good, but barely taught. In the Maliki and Hanbali schools, it is seen as recommended and Islamic. And in the Shafi school, it is considered obligatory. If you know how Sunni Muslims treat things, you can assume that Maliki and Hanbali schools practice it pretty much because anything Islamically recommended should be definitely done. Pakistani Muslims and Indian Muslims are mostly Hanafis, which means they don't care really about female genital mutilation. So, Muslims you interact with in the West or online are usually from Pakistan, and that's why you hear that this practice has nothing to do with their religion. That also serves very much the agenda of Western Islam lovers, because they interact with Hanafi Muslims and their scholars, who think that female genital mutilation is not part of their faith. Turks are also usually Hanafis, but Turks also don't know anything about their religion, and their English knowledge is... So who cares about Turks? In Shia Islam, the practice was widely considered good and recommended. But recently, the leaders denounced the practice as pre-Islamic, and in Iran, more Sunnis than Shiites undergo female genital mutilation. I know Sunnis love to blame everything on others, such as the Shia Muslims, but that would be a total failure in this case. Oh, these are well-established rules, but despite these, there are also opposite opinions within these schools and branches. But the answer on whether female genital mutilation is Islamic or not has pretty much been answered. We can still go into Islamic sources and see for ourselves what the fundamental sources of Islam say about this practice. Female genital mutilation is not mentioned in the Quran, so people who base their faith solely on the Quran, also called Quranists, can go ahead and claim that it has nothing to do with their religion. No one listens to them anyway. It is mentioned in the Hadith, however. Muhammad makes it very clear if this practice is Islamic or not, or if it exists in Islam or not. Here are 2 of more than 5 hadiths about female genital mutilation, and this is all you really need. A woman used to perform circumcision in Medina. The Prophet said to her, "Do not cut severely, as that is better for a woman and more desirable for a husband." As you can see, in this hadith, Muhammad sees that such a practice is being done, and he doesn't say this is wrong or anything. He gives instructions on how to do it, which means this is a sunnah, it is part of the religion. Another hadith says, "Circumcision is law for men and the preservation of honor for women." Muhammad said this, I didn't. Or the hadith did. If you have any doubts about hadith, you should know that these 2 hadiths are authentic, and the vast majority of Sunni Muslims believe in these, because this is what their faith is built on. The number of prayers comes from hadith. Further instructions for fasting come from hadith. Lots of things come from hadith. Without hadith, Muslims wouldn't really be Muslims. The second hadith is a little bit disputed, but it is followed by the majority of scholars and their followers, so we just call this authentic. As said, there is internal conflict regarding these matters, but this is just the mainly accepted view in Islam. And looking at those hadith is quite enough. I don't even want to go into scholarly opinions and stuff like that, it would only further prove my point. Female genital mutilation is, if we look at these facts, definitely a part of Islam. More and more Muslims nowadays oppose the practice and think that it has nothing to do with their religion because they interact with Western values, with secularization, and with human rights. Don't be fooled by that, though. Surveys show us that the practice is done to more than 90% of girls and women in Indonesia and Malaysia. And there are similar figures in African Muslim countries, and the majority approves of it. Otherwise, it would clearly not happen to the majority of people. Also, even if more and more Muslims oppose this practice, they are going a very wrong and deceptive way. They claim that the practice has nothing to do with Islam and that it's not a part of Islam, that Islam doesn't even say anything about it. And that is just the perfect thing for their Western allies who have pity for Islam and who don't want to blame any Islamic or un-Islamic problem on Islam. No matter what those people say, female genital mutilation is part of Islam. It is a problem about religion, about faith, and it has to be attacked and pointed out that way, otherwise it cannot be solved. Female genital mutilation is barbaric. It has absolutely no benefits. It damages women permanently, it robs them of their natural pleasures, and it can even kill them. It takes the dignity and the womanhood of women away, because Islam is a religion by men, for men only. Islam oppresses and objectifies women to such an extent that no other religion or ideology can go. This practice has to be stopped. It has to be forbidden everywhere, and people who practice this on others should be jailed. I would even go further and say that people who practice this on others should have their own genitals damaged, but who needs that? Thank you for watching. If you like this video and my content, please don't forget to share, to subscribe, and to like. My channel is not monetized as said, so if you want to support me, you can do so on Patreon. I appreciate every form of help. The link is below in the description. Thank you so much. I'll be back with more videos. I'm currently trying to prepare another video for this week because I have an oral surgery tomorrow, so I have no idea if I will be able to speak and to make another video. I'll give you more updates about that. Thanks for watching, have a great day, and stay away from Islam.